There's a little trick filmmakers use all the time, and most of us never notice it. But once you do, it'll most definitely change the way you watch movies forever. Let's break it down. We all love getting pulled into a good movie, whether it's a big Marvel blockbuster or a slow-burning drama. The acting, music, and camera work all work together to make us feel like we are right there with the characters. But there's a certain camera trick that shows up in almost every kind of film. It's called the over-the-shoulder shot. At first glance, it seems simple. One character talks, the other listens, and the camera catches it all over someone's shoulder. Easy, right? Well, not really. There's actually something strange that happens in these shots, and once you notice it, it's impossible to unsee. So, what is this over-the-shoulder shot? Disclaimer, nerd stuff ahead. But hang tight, it's cooler than it sounds. Basically, these shots are meant to make one person the center of attention, but there is more to it than just pointing the camera at someone talking. A classic OTS shot has 3 layers. The foreground, usually the back of someone's head and shoulder. The middle ground, the person speaking. And the background. These layers add depth, and our brains love that. Things closer to the camera appear larger. Things farther away look smaller. That size difference tricks our brain into seeing real space. It makes us feel like we are right there in the middle of the conversation. So, the OTS shot is all about using the Z-axis, which is an imaginary line that runs from the camera toward the background of the frame. When filmmakers layer subjects along that axis, it creates a more lifelike scene and gives the viewer a sense of dimensional space. The inclusion of the foreground character's shoulder acts as a framing device and spatial cue that orients the viewer within the scene. Why do filmmakers love it? Because these shots do more than just look good. They help tell the story. Directors use them to subtly show power dynamics. If a character is shot from a slightly lower angle in the OTS, they might seem more powerful. Or placing 2 characters close together in an OTS can suggest intimacy, while framing them further apart can highlight the tension. To capture a turn-taking conversation, this OTS is then flipped to a reverse OTS angle that depicts the other subject's perspective. Edited together, the interplay of these 2 shots often shows the action of one person and the corresponding reaction of the other person. This sequence of 2 OTS shots that details the back and forth between 2 characters is called a shot-reverse shot. Now, for this whole thing to actually make sense on screen and not look like a clumsy game at a camera ping-pong, there are rules that need to be followed. First up is the 180-degree rule. Imagine an invisible line connecting the 2 people talking. The camera must stay on one side of the line. Why? Because if it crosses to the other side, the characters suddenly flip positions on screen, and your brain goes, "Wait, who's sitting where again?" Then there's the 30-degree rule, which is all about avoiding awkward jump cuts. Basically, if you are going to switch camera angles on the same subject, the camera needs to move at least 30 degrees or change the shot size. If not, it just looks jarring, you know, like the actor teleported slightly sideways for no reason. Not exactly Oscar-worthy. Another trick is the eye line match. It sounds minor, but it makes a huge difference. For example, if character A is looking slightly to the left in one shot, and character B is supposed to be facing them in the next shot, their gaze needs to line up. If their eye lines are off, it feels like they are talking past each other, which kills the vibe of the scene. Together, these little rules like matching eye lines, keeping characters on the same sides, and avoiding weird cuts help the conversation feel real and easy to follow. You might not consciously follow it, but your brain definitely appreciates the smooth ride. You are still here, right? Good, because this is where it gets interesting. Okay, so with all these rules to follow, it's only human for the filmmakers to mess up sometimes. It's not like anyone would notice and make a video, so those who didn't notice would notice too. Wink, wink. The thing is, these scenes are shot multiple times from different angles, and editors pick the best performance of each actor. But syncing everything perfectly is hard. That's why in OTS shots, you'll sometimes see a character in the foreground mouthing words that don't match what's being said, or not moving their lips at all when they should be. Most of us don't notice because we are a little too focused on the speaker. But if your eyes wander to the background or the side, these little glitches start to stand out. In Titanic, Jack's mouth keeps moving even after his line ends when the camera cuts to Rose. In Shooter and Inception, characters are clearly talking, but their mouths don't match the audio. Even The Dark Knight slips when the Joker taunts Batman from above the net. You hear him say, "All the old familiar places," but his lips don't move at all. Even big productions have trouble getting this right every time. This kind of mismatch happens when audio from one take is combined with video from another. Maybe the best delivery came from one angle, and the best reaction came from another, but the two don't quite sync. So, editors rely on tricks like clever cuts, blurred foregrounds, and angle changes that distract the viewers. Another technique to cover this kind of slip-up is ADR, the automated dialogue replacement, where actors re-record their lines in a sound booth. That way, editors can sync the audio more precisely. But matching those lines to original mouth movements is easier said than done. And when the timing is slightly off, that's when viewers who are really paying attention start to notice. Now, it's not something that would ruin the entire movie. Most people never even notice it. But once you do, it becomes one of those things you just can't stop seeing. It's like finding out your favorite song has a weird background noise. So, every time you play that song, your brain will be waiting to point out that sound. These kinds of details are tiny, but distracting once you know they are there. Question for you. Where else have you seen these OTS shots other than the films? You have got 5 seconds to answer. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ding, ding, ding. Time up. The answer is video games. If you guessed it right, congratulations, you actually have a brain. If you didn't, it's okay. Brains aren't everything. These OTS shots have long been a part of third-person shooter video games. You know, like in The Last of Us or Resident Evil, the camera floats just behind the character, framing the action from an over-the-shoulder view. It gives the players a better sense of space, aiming and navigating more easily. However, since the video games feature only digital characters, there are hardly any weird lip syncs or mismatched reactions. So, your quirks and all, the OTS shots stick around for a reason. They bring scenes to life, make dialogues feel real, and help us get inside the characters' heads. Next time you are watching a movie, take a second and look a little closer. Are those lips moving when they're supposed to? Is that shoulder perfectly framing the shot or weirdly distracting? Or maybe the editor just hoped you wouldn't notice. Well, too late now. You now know all the rules of OTS, and you have unlocked a whole new lens on storytelling. So, once you see it, you can't unsee it. Oh, and before you go, have you ever caught a blooper like this in a movie? A sink slip, a weird cut, something that totally broke the illusion? Drop it in the comments, we want to hear all about it. That was it for today's video. If you had fun, or if your brain is a little bit broken now, hit that like button and share it with all your movie-loving friends. For more such videos, don't forget to subscribe. Catch you in the next one.